Well, today on the Fox Local Book Club, we are welcoming #1 New York Times bestselling author Christina Baker Klein. Her new novel, The Foursome, reimagines the true story of the world-famous conjoined twins, Chang and Eng Bunker, and the two North Carolina sisters who married them in the 19th century. Christina will be appearing in person at the Oxford Exchange later this week alongside Chang's great-granddaughter, Florida's own Alex Sink. But she's joining me today via Zoom. Christina,
Hi.
Thanks so much for being here on the Fox Local Book Club.
I'm so glad to be here. Thanks.
Well, tell us more about The Foursome.
The Foursome is a novel reimagining the lives of Chang and Eng and their domestic situation in particular. I am distantly related to Sarah and Adelaide Yates, who married Chang and Eng in North Carolina, northwestern North Carolina, Surrey, Wilkes County, and Surrey County, in the early to mid 19th century. So it's quite a rich story, and it's just a real honor to be here to talk about it.
And it does center on the perspectives of the sisters, Sarah and Adelaide. What did you learn about them, or what fascinated you the most about two very different women?
Incredibly, they married conjoined twins in a conservative rural community in the mid-19th century. It kind of defies belief, and it's hard to imagine how it even happened. So that was the task of my book, was to sort of figure out how could these brothers who they just kind of came on a whim to North Carolina to visit a doctor who'd invited them to come hunt on his property and fish. And they fell in love with it. They loved that region. And then they decided they were ready to retire from showbiz and find wives. And in fact, that's exactly what they did. And these two young women, 19 and 20 years old, met them at an event, and within not much time, they were married. And they ended up having 21 children, the two of them. So
that is
one
incredible.
had 11, one had 10.
So you're going to be in conversation with Alex Sink Sunday, and she too has ties to the Bunker family. Did y'all know each other or collaborate, or how did that work?
I was just remembering that the way I contacted Alex, who, by the way, is such a superstar in her own right.
Yes.
I feel so honored that she's doing this. And Alex is more directly related. She is a direct descendant of Chang and Eng and Sarah and Adelaide. So I'm a cousin, distant cousin. But I met her through a comedian and commentator named Mo Rocca. He had a podcast called Mobituaries. I wrote a novel called Orphan Train that he featured the orphan trains on his show. And then he featured Chang and Eng. And I was just beginning to explore my own family connection to them. And he connected me with Alex, whom he had interviewed for a show. So I felt very lucky to be able to talk to her. She's so wise. She's so knowledgeable. And she actually put me in touch with other people and kind of facilitated some of my interactions that were really my research that was really helpful.
How that all came together. The novel spans 5 decades against this backdrop of pre-Civil War America, the South, where race and class and gender were rigidly defined. How did the twins and the sisters manage to build a successful life despite all those societal restrictions?
You know, that's one of the most exciting things about writing this book, was discovering that this story, even though it seems outside the bounds of ordinary society, is kind of a microcosm of what was going on in the country at the time. And it still has reverberations today. I mean, these were immigrant guys who came here with less than nothing. They were essentially indentured servants. They made a fortune, they moved to this rural place, and then the Civil War happened. They were embroiled in all these different aspects of society. And, you know, their lives they sort of built and lost and built again their fortune over and over again. So I just found it so fascinating, and it feels very much intertwined with our country and how it developed as well.
Christina, we got to go. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to tell people how they can come meet you in person.
Thank you.
If you'd like to meet Christina and Alex Sink this Sunday, from 3:30 to 5 p.m., they will be at the Oxford Exchange right here in Tampa. Every ticket includes a signed copy of The Foursome, and you can reserve tickets at the Oxford Exchange website. I'll also post a link on my social media. Look for Fox 13's Linda Hurtado and like the page.